Chocolate? Good. Bread? Good. What do you get when you mix chocolate and bread? Babka. So today we're making babka. Let's get into it. To make our babka dough, we're going to add 4½ cups of flour, a ½ cup of sugar, and 2¼ teaspoons of yeast to the bowl of a stand mixer and whisk together. We'll then add 4 room temperature eggs, a ½ cup of room temperature whole milk, and 1½ teaspoons of kosher salt and mix on low speed with a dough hook attachment until a dough starts to form, about 2 minutes. We're now going to add 10 tablespoons of room temperature unsalted butter. I find that the easiest way to do this is to cube the butter and then add in a few cubes at a time, waiting for it to incorporate before adding more. Let your dough mix on medium-low speed for about 10 more minutes until it's smooth and elastic. The dough will still feel sticky, but will also be very stretchy. Transfer the dough into a large oiled bowl, shaping it into a ball and giving the top a light spray of oil before covering and letting it chill overnight in the fridge or for at least 8 hours. It's now the next day, so it's time to make our chocolate filling. In a small saucepan, we're going to heat a ½ cup of cubed unsalted butter and a ½ cup of heavy cream on medium heat until the butter is melted and the mixture is steaming. We'll then add 8 ounces or 225 grams of chopped dark chocolate, stirring until melted. I've been enjoying the Tony Chocolonely 70% dark chocolate, but feel free to use your favorite. Once melted, remove from the heat and whisk in 3/4 cups of powdered sugar and 1/3 cup of unsweetened cocoa powder. Whisk to combine, doing your best to break up any large lumps of powdered sugar or cocoa powder, and then transfer to a clean bowl and let cool until spreadable. This usually takes about an hour, but I'd recommend popping it in the fridge after about 15 minutes to help speed up the process. Once the filling is set, it's time to shape the babka. On a lightly floured surface, divide the chilled dough in half and then roll into a 12 by 16 inch rectangle. The dough will be quite stiff, so try pressing it down with the rolling pin before starting to really roll it out. Also, this doesn't have to be a perfect rectangle, but I often will stretch the edges out as I go to try and keep the shape as even as possible. Once rolled out, we're going to spread half of our chocolate filling all the way out to the edges on 3 of the sides, making sure to leave a 1-inch border on one of the short sides. Starting at the opposite short side to that border, we're going to roll the dough into a tight coil. Make sure to pinch the bottom seam to seal everything up, and I also like to press in and seal the edges as well. Then, using a large sharp knife, we're going to cut the dough in half lengthwise. Place the 2 halves next to each other, keeping the cut size facing up, and then twist the halves over each other, tucking both the ends underneath the loaf and pinching to seal. Place in a greased, floured, and parchment-lined 8 by 9 inch loaf pan and repeat with the second half of the dough. We're going to let these prove for 1½ to 2 hours or nicely puffed. After about 1½ hours, the dough has definitely risen but has not quite doubled in size. We're now going to pop them in a 350-degree oven to bake for 40 to 45 minutes. 10 minutes before the babkas are done, it's time to put together the syrup. In a small saucepan, add 1/3 cup of water and 1/3 cup of sugar. Bring this to a simmer over medium heat, whisking until the sugar is fully dissolved. Then set it aside until the babkas are done. Our loaves are done when they are golden brown and a knife comes out clean or their internal temp is 190 degrees. Immediately brush the loaves with the syrup, making sure to use all of it since it helps make the top shiny and keeps the interior moist. Let the babka sit for 30 minutes in the pans to cool and continue to soak up the syrup. You should be able to easily remove them from the pans using the parchment paper and can either let them cool to room temperature or dig in while they're still warm. And just wow! Look at how gorgeous these loaves of babka turned out. The contrast of the golden brown bread with the ribbons of dark chocolate is just so stunning. These turned out so pretty, and I'm so excited to cut into them. Just look at that swirl. Cheers. Again, like I said at the beginning, chocolate, good. Like I said at the beginning, chocolate, good. Bread, good. So chocolate, bread, must be fantastic. The bread is fluffy, you get the extra sweet from the syrup, you get the richness from the chocolate. Seriously, it is one of my favorite desserts. Let me know if you make this.